Hello everyone, meteorologist Chris Sowers here. You know, people come up to me all the time and they ask me, who do you trust to do work on your home? Well, for me, the answer is simple. It's Bobby and Tim at Realistic Exterior. They've earned a reputation for quality roofing and siding across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware by doing the job right and standing by the work that they do. Just take a look at all of their 5-star reviews. That right there pretty much tells you everything you need to know. Try their free AI roof estimate tool. It'll give you a ballpark estimate before you even schedule an appointment, so you'll know what to expect. Now, I have to tell you something about this Bobby. He's just one of those guys you don't forget. Visit realisticexterior.com and watch his videos. You'll laugh, you'll see his personality, his passion, and you'll understand why homeowners trust him and his team. For quality craftsmanship, honest service, and a contractor that you can count on, call Realistic Exterior. The weather can be unpredictable at times, but your contractor shouldn't be.
All right, good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Chris Sowers here. Hope you guys had a great weekend. It was a stifling hot day yesterday. Funny thing was, yesterday was supposed to be the break, and the humidity, the dew points never really dropped the way that they were expected to drop during the day, so it remained very, very hot, very, very humid. Today's going to be a little bit different. All right? You can already feel the difference out here right now. I have my own personal weather station. It's hooked up right behind this camera, and the dew points are already down into the mid-60s, so it's going to be hot, it's going to be humid, but it's not going to feel as bad as it did yesterday. Yesterday was just awful. I could not believe I was trimming some of the bushes in the front yard, and I'm telling you, within like 5-10 minutes, I was dripping sweat. And I was like, oh, I'm like, September can't get here. October can't get here soon enough. So I hope you guys had a great weekend. Other than the heat, right? Other than the humidity, it was a fabulous day. If you were poolside or maybe you spent the day at the beach, it was great, but it was just really, really hot. And I don't know about you, but I've had enough. I've also had enough of the Phillies. I'm glad they won. You saw the post I made, right? I'm very happy they won. I've been a big fan of the Phillies ever since I was like 5 years old. I follow them every year. I'm just not impressed with what they're doing right now, and I hope they get their stuff together here because there's some good teams in the NL this year. Milwaukee's good. Obviously, the Dodgers are the team to beat. Who's the other team that was really, really good? There's like 3 of them. Oh, the Cubs. We have our hands full with the Cubs of all teams. The Cubs are really, really good. So Atlanta is really, really good. My feeling, and I know we're getting way off the weather topic here, but my feeling is whoever comes out of the National League will end up winning the World Series because I'm just not impressed at all with anybody in the AL, and that includes the Yankees and Tampa Bay. Yes, they've got good records, but if you look at the American League stinks out loud. They're awful. Every team is awful. Matter of fact, just while I'm waiting for everybody to get on here, listen to this, because I was doing this the other day. Teams at or above 500 in the AL. 3, 4, 5. 5 teams in the entire American League are above 500. 5. Those teams are Tampa, which, wow, Tampa's really good. I didn't realize they were that good. They're 71-46. Tampa, the Yankees, and Boston. Boston has been insanely hot. That's a team you're going to have to watch. All right, so it's Tampa, Yankees, Boston, the White Sox, and Houston. 5 teams. You go over to the NL, you've got Atlanta, Philly, Miami, Milwaukee, Chicago, Dodgers, Arizona, San Diego, and then you got the Cardinals who are at 500. NL is definitely where all the good teams are this year. So what did you guys do? I'll set my chat up here so I can actually see what you guys are saying. Good morning from Millville. We got Glenn in the house. How are you, buddy? Donna says, good morning, Chris and the family. How are you? Donna says, so hard to watch the Phillies. Well, think about it. So did all 3 of those games against Toronto go into extra innings in this past series? I know 2 did. I can't remember if the first one did. But every one of those games, at least the last 2, the Phillies should have won. And they should have won it without even going into extra innings. And you're just like, so it was 5-2. And I know better than this, right? Because of the way they've been playing. I was sitting on the couch in there. I was watching the game. It was 5-2, I think, in the 7th or something like that. And I turned it off. Or 6th or 7th, whatever it was. I turned it off and started playing with Paige. I put it back on, and all of a sudden we're tied. I'm like, what? It's just, oh my gosh. Hello from Clayton, Delaware. That's KD. KD's watching. Ocean City, New Jersey's in the house. Hi, Carol. She says it's muggy. Joan says, good morning, everyone. Have a great day. Joan, where are you? Where are you tuning in from here? Let everybody know where you are this morning. Anyway, good morning to you. Percy's in the house. That's Kristen. Phillies are done. I don't want to go that far, right? Because, look, we've seen them turn things around like that, and I don't know what it is, right? When the Phillies host a playoff series, maybe it's the atmosphere, maybe it's the stadium, maybe it's you fans. I don't know, but the Phillies, it's like a switch. All of a sudden, they're a different team. So I don't want to say they're done. If they can get into the playoffs, I mean, they got a shot. But what I'm going to say is this. Even if they do get into the playoffs, if they don't host a playoff series, then I think they're done. If they got to start out on the road, I think they're done. I agree with you there. If they somehow get a home playoff series in the first round, then I think they've got a pretty good chance. The Phillies are losing games after the start. Yes. All right, so Jim is saying pretty much it's the bullpen that's letting them down, and I agree. We have one of the best closers, if not the best closer in the game. But it's the bullpen after the starter gets removed that struggles. And I almost feel like, gosh, even if, I mean, the year we won the World Series, I can't even remember what year that was. Was that 2008, 2007, something like that, with Brad Lidge and them? I almost feel like after that, we've been needing a bullpen ever since. I mean, here we are, 2026, so we're about 17 years removed from that or something. And I almost feel like we've needed a bullpen ever since the year we won the World Series. Actually, the year we lost to the Yankees, I think we had a pretty decent bullpen there, too. So let's say after that, I mean, we've kind of needed a bullpen ever since. For some reason, we just can't get a bullpen. All right, Eileen says, good morning from Levittown. Sue says, good morning from Hamilton, Mercer County. And Jeannie's on, and she says, hello from Mount Holly. We've got Catherine, good morning from Warminster. Need pitching help? Yes, we do. Kim says, good morning from Manchester Township, Ocean County. How are you? And Lynn says, good morning from Westchester. Westchester's going to be one of the areas that could get hit pretty good later today. We're going to talk about that in a second. And who else do we got here? I believe in the Phillies, Maria says. Hopefully they will turn this black cloud away. That would be nice for the weather, too. And actually, you know what? That's a good segue. Let's get into the weather there, talking about black clouds. So, first we'll start out with the radar. And what this is in clear air mode. All right, so if you go onto my YouTube channel, this is what you're going to see. And I'm going to start out with this because this is going to be an active day. All right, now, looking at the latest computer data, I would think any time from 4 to 8 or 4 to 9 is going to be the window here where we've got some big thunderstorms pushing through. Okay, so that would mean 4 o'clock far western counties, 9 o'clock Jersey Shore, or 4 to 10, somewhere in that ballpark. This is in clear air mode right now. Basically, what it's tracking is bugs and things like that. There's, it's not really tracking any precipitation. Plus, I'm looking upstairs. I'm looking at the clouds or the sky, and there's not even a cloud in the sky here, just those high, thin cirrus. So we're not really monitoring anything right now. But anyway, this streams live on my YouTube channel 24/7, okay? You don't need to have a YouTube account to go onto YouTube and watch my channel. Just go to youtube.com, and in the search thing at the top, that you'll see that little magnifying glass, type in Chris Sowers Weather, okay? And it'll take you right to my page. When you get to the page, click the live button. This comes up. It's 24/7. It's live Doppler dual pole radar. It's what the National Weather Service and the FAA use. It's one of the strongest radars out there. You're not going to find anything more accurate. This is the real deal. Warnings update in real time. They're going to update right in front of you. So, you're going to know when you get under a warning. And, one of the things, and this is going to serve as a good reminder here. Know where you are on a map, okay? That was the one thing that Lori and I, when we moved to Florida, that was the one thing we struggled with. We moved down there. I mean, you guys have heard the story, right? My first day on the air, my first day there was Hurricane Milton. And so we get into this new house, and we designated a safe room, but we didn't really know where we lived on a map yet. I kind of had an idea, like I was looking at if you look at a map and you see the outline there, I kind of knew. I was like, all right, we're near this little divot here, this little this little divot here, that's where the landscape kind of goes in. That's where we are. All right, but I didn't know exactly where we were, okay? So I had to look at maps. I had to keep looking at maps. And thankfully I did because, again, we had 22 tornadoes that day. And I can't even tell you how many tornado warnings, probably about 30, 35. It was insane. And so it's important that you know where you are. Let's go back to the radar. It's important you know where you are on this map. Okay, know what county you live in. Know some of the major roads that you live near. All right? And also know some of the major towns that are next to you, especially to the west, because it's going to be the western areas that get hit first. All right, that's probably the most important thing that I can tell you when it comes to severe weather. You got to know where you live on this map, okay? And then as you're watching this update in real time, it's all going to update right in front of you to the second. All right, then you can see where these storms are in relation to where you're located and how much time you have. Now, the thunderstorms today are going to be moving about 30 miles per hour. So they're moving quicker today, which means the flash flood threat is a lot lower. And that's a nice change of pace because lately the storms have been moving slowly, and that has elevated the flash flood threat. Well, they're going to be moving they're going to be moving quicker today. And so that means the flash flood threat really isn't going to be that big of a concern. Yes, there could still be a warning, that is issued here or there. But the main threat with this is going to be for strong straight line winds. The tornado threat is very, very low. The hail threat is very, very low. It's mainly just straight line winds. And some of the winds, there's a little disturbance in the middle and the upper levels of the atmosphere. You got some wind up there, about 5,500 feet up, just about a mile off the deck. You have some pretty good winds blowing. So some of that wind could get transferred down to the surface. And right now, 60, 65, maybe even 70 mile an hour wind gusts are not out of the question with some of these thunderstorms. Okay, Marge is showing humidity at 91% and the temperature 71. Okay, that's another thing that I would like everybody to get away from is relative humidity. It serves no purpose when we're talking about actual humidity. Okay, and I know that sounds funny, right? So you've got two things that you look at. One is humidity. I got to be honest, the only time I even look at humidity, like relative humidity, is when I'm tracking fire danger. All right, that's it. That's the only time. Otherwise, it's always dew point. Always, always, always dew point. The reason why you do not look at relative humidity when you're trying to track, how nasty it feels out here or how comfortable it feels out here is because humidity is not a constant, all right? What happens is the dew point is a constant. Relative humidity changes depending on the temperature of the atmosphere. So in other words, here we are. Let's say it's 70 degrees, like you just said. You got 71 degrees, and you're showing relative humidity at 91%. If you take that same parcel of air, okay, the same air right now that's at 71 degrees and 91%, and you suddenly heat it to 90, that relative humidity will drop all the way down to about 40 or 45%. And so you're going to look at it, and you're going to say, oh, 40, 45%, it's not humid at all. And you'd be dead wrong because the dew point is in the 70s, all right? And that is what you look at. The dew point in the 70s is tropical. Okay, and you'd walk outside and you'd be like, it feels terrible out here. All right, so step away from the humidity. Don't even look at it. The only time I want you guys looking at humidity is when we're tracking a fire danger, all right, fire risk, which we really haven't had to worry about given all the rain. Otherwise, dew point. And remember the way the dew points work, okay? And really, this is just a summer thing, all right? You get into fall and winter and spring, dew points really aren't a factor. It's the summer months where the dew points are a factor here. So basically, it's 60 to 80. That's the window, 60 to 80. You get your dew point under 60, you're in the comfort zone, and it feels fabulous out here. You get into the 60s, okay? Low to mid 60s, slightly humid, it's not bad. Mid to upper 60s is humid. You're going to start feeling that. You break 70, and you're in the tropical category. And once you're in the tropical category, it just feels awful out here. The closer you get to 80, the worse and worse and worse it's going to feel, okay? So 70 to 80, that's the area as far as dew point is concerned where you're in the tropical category. You get to 80 and, oh gosh, that's where we were for 3 straight months in South Florida. That's just downright awful. Marianne says, you taught me about dew points. Now I only look at dew points. Well, thank you. Good morning, Chris from Violent. That's Bernadette. I just walked the dog. I am soaked. The humidity is yuck. Marlene, tell me where you're tuning in from. I actually have a dew point of just 66 right now. And I'm here in interior South Jersey. So, it was, yesterday we were in the mid-70s. So, look, it's still a little humid, but I'll take it. I'm gonna wager that you're probably pretty close to either the Delaware Bay or the ocean, because that's where we are still seeing very, very high dew points right now. Okay. All right, let's get into it here. So here's a look at what the SPC has done. All right, Storm Prediction Center, like I talked about yesterday, I had a feeling they were going to do this, right? They upgraded the severe weather risk. Now you see the level 2, the yellow, and it does include a large part of the Philadelphia area, mainly areas north and west of the Delaware River. All right, now what you need to know with a level 2, this is scattered. Simply put, the best chance of running into severe weather today is going to be in the areas shaded in yellow, okay? Isolated for dark shade of green, isolated meaning 1 or 2, scattered meaning a lot more activity in that shade of yellow. Now for us, in our neck of the woods, that means Lancaster, Reading, Allentown, Bethlehem, Quakertown, Percy, Honeybrook, Downingtown, Macungie, Emmaus, Boyertown, Pottstown, Lansdale, Oxford, Kennett Square, Newark, Wilmington. What's another one down there? Hockessin, all right? The Poconos. Every one of those communities that I just mentioned, all right, you're under a level 2, all right, scattered. Best chance of seeing severe weather today. And again, straight line winds is the primary threat, 60 to 70 miles per hour. The level 1, the isolated threat, is all of New Jersey, most of the state of Delaware, Philadelphia, Bensalem, Philly Northeast, Doylestown, Levittown, those areas, and into northern New Jersey, okay? That's the level 1, isolated. So best chance is going to be in that yellow shaded area. No, hold on, I just hit the wrong button here. Okay. All right, now, out of the threats, here's what we're looking at, okay? Here's your tornado threat. Tornado threat is pretty much non-existent, which is good, and keep the fingers crossed, and hopefully this is how it continues to play out. We don't need any tornadoes, right? Here's your hail threat right here. There is a little bit of a hail threat, okay? Now, it's low. It's only about a 5% chance, okay? But it's still a threat. Some of you could see some decent-sized hailstones out of that. Tornado threat is less than 2%. That's why it doesn't show much. When you get out to the west there, all right, you see that shade of green? That's where you have a little bit better chance of running into some tornadoes. Notice it is way west of Philadelphia, okay? So as long as this holds, we shouldn't have anything to worry about with tornadoes. Here's your straight line wind threat. It's elevated, okay? And it's elevated throughout most of the Keystone State. The only part of Pennsylvania, honestly, that is not in this elevated damaging wind threat is Philly. That's really it. Philly up to Trenton. That small little area there. And then you head north of the Poconos, that extreme northeastern tip, and you get up towards, what is it called, the Wind Gap, up there towards Sussex County in New Jersey, so northwest of there. Those two little areas, those are the only two little areas in the entire state of Pennsylvania that's not under an elevated threat for damaging straight line winds. Okay? Here is the categorical for tomorrow. All right, notice, what did we talk about, right? We talked about, I said, I think they're going to have to lift these areas a little bit farther to the north to include the Philadelphia area now. So I still think they need to push this a little farther to the north. But you see what's going on. They're catching on. They are lifting this to the north, like I had been suggesting for days now. Now, South Jersey, part of Delco, most of Lancaster and most of Chester counties and all of Delaware, Cecil and Queen Anne's counties in Maryland are now included in the level 1. And also look at the level 2 here. It's getting a lot farther southeast. It's getting expanded into the D.C. television market now. What I think is going to happen is, I think by tomorrow morning, you're going to see them lift that dark shade of green a little bit farther to the north. Right now, I would put it in a line from Harrisburg to Trenton to Belmar in Monmouth County, south. Okay? And then I would take that yellow, and I would put it in D.C., and I would probably put it awful darn close to Baltimore. Okay? I would lift this farther north and east, too. All right, but at least they're starting to push this farther northeast, which is where I've been thinking they needed to go for days now. All right, here's a look at the Rapid Refresh Forecast System high-resolution forecast data. Okay, this is a part of the CAMS network, convection allowing models. And these models are built for short-term forecasting, so usually within 48 hours. That's where they do best. This one right here and the HRRR do pretty well with severe weather. So we're going to use this one. This is 11 o'clock in the morning today, and we're fine. There's 12, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Now, at this point, it has been a beautiful day. Through 3 o'clock in the afternoon, beautiful. It's hot, it's humid, not as bad as yesterday, but you got full sun, or sunshine mixed with clouds, okay? There's 4 o'clock. Big thunderstorms flaring up across the far western counties at that point. The evening commute gets going, and we've got some heavy hitters out there. Again, wind is the primary threat. The flash flood threat has been reduced today because of the speed in which these things are going to be moving. All right, and you're going to see that here in a second. So by 4 o'clock, Lancaster's getting hit. The Fleetwood Reading area is getting hit. Allentown's getting hit. Lehigh International, the airport there, is getting hit. The Pocono's getting hit. Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area is getting hit. These storms are just now pulling, at this point, pulling away from Harrisburg. Hershey, PA is still getting hit. Schuylkill County is still getting blasted. Okay? Here's a look at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. No, look at this. Okay, and this is why the flash flood threat is so low. That's 4. That's 5. Look at the distance in which these things are traveling. 4, 5. I mean, these storms are hauling. They're motoring. They're probably going to be moving at a minimum of 30 miles per hour. So because they're moving so quickly, again, that'll keep the flash flood threat low. But it's like a double-edged sword, right? Because the fact that they are moving so quickly, there's a lot of wind energy aloft that's actually steering these things, right? I mean, you can't move that fast with no steering current. So you reduce the flash flood threat, but you increase the damaging wind threat. So again, it's, you know, it's sort of like pick your poison here. All right, so here's 6 o'clock. Okay. Big storms right over Philadelphia at that point. Now, that is pretty much the heart of the evening commute. Okay, that's 6 o'clock. You've got heavy, drenching downpours in Philadelphia, reduced visibility. Okay, you got winds blowing pretty good too. There's 7, and there's 8. And that's all she wrote. That's it. Now, afterwards, there could be something spotty down. This is interesting that the model's going down this road here. Usually what happens is when you get a big line like that, it stabilizes the atmosphere. Maybe you get a little rain on the backside, but no big thunderstorms. The model's trying to show some more big storms here on the backside of that departing line. We'll see. I don't know if I'm buying into this, but I mean, we'll see, right? Here's a look at some more potential activity overnight. Okay, that's 2 o'clock in the morning. And then at that point, we're winding down. Now, what I want to do is draw your attention to the next couple of days. Once we get beyond today, remember we were talking about this yesterday, the mesoscale convective systems, the MCSs, all right? They've got nicknames, night crawlers, ridge runners. These things pack such a punch. They usually produce incredible amounts of wind. These are big groups of thunderstorms, all right? And there's so many storms in this group that overall kind of forms an area of low pressure, a bigger area of low pressure. So we go from the mesoscale to the bigger picture. All right, and what happens is inside this cluster, the pressures deepen, all right, and the wind strengthens even further. All right, so this is what we're going to have to watch. Here's the cluster coming through today, all right? That comes and goes. Now watch what happens here as we get into Tuesday. First part of the day is fine again, all right? Warming up, temperatures eventually get up into the 90s. The humidity is going to be an issue too. So you get the destabilizing of the atmosphere with the sun just kind of wrecking you. I'm so sick of the heat and humidity right now. Here comes Tuesday afternoon. Boom. Look at it. You see the bow? You see the bow there across West Virginia? Watch. See it coming through? Blasting D.C., blasting Baltimore. Also, look at the big thunderstorms to the north. Okay? So you can clearly see the bow down there to the south. That is a big cluster of thunderstorms. It's a big straight line wind event. That is not far away. Okay? And so this is why the SPC has put the level 2 where they currently have it. All this thing's going to have to do is shift about 50 miles to the north. Think about that. That's about from, what, Atlantic City to Philly? That's not much at all, right? 50, 60 miles to the north, and all of a sudden we're in business, and we've got our hands full with another round of severe weather, okay? With that being said, I still think Delaware, at the very least, is going to get popped tomorrow afternoon. Late afternoon, early evening. We'll have to see again how far to the north. And then here comes another one. Look at this one behind it as we get into Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. All right? Don't worry about the colors. That's not what we're looking at right now. We're looking at the positioning of these MCSs, okay? Because I can tell you right now, if they form, that whole thing's going to be bright red, okay? So we got to watch these things. If this maintains, I mean, look at this. What is this, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning? Look at the thunderstorms this thing is projecting in the Poconos and the Lehigh Valley. I mean, these could be big, big storms. And then that comes and goes, and behind that, Thursday, we should be okay. Okay? So, next couple of days, we've got our hands full. All right? It's just going to be very, very interesting. You know, the only thing that I can say right now that is for certain is the severe threat today, because the positioning of that cluster is farther to the north. Right now, currently, the one for tomorrow is a little bit farther to the south. The one behind that, though, as we get into Wednesday morning, is north again. So every one of these days, are you canceling plans? Nope. Don't cancel anything, because a large part of the day is fine, especially today. Don't cancel any plans, but keep an eye to the sky after 4 p.m., especially if you live west of Philly. For tomorrow, same thing. Don't cancel any plans. Whatever you got going on outdoors, do it. All right? After 4 p.m., keep an eye to the sky, especially west of Philadelphia and in Delaware, okay? Wednesday morning, we could be getting hit too, all right? Wednesday was a little bit different. Wednesday is an early day event, and then in the afternoon, things will clear out. But it looks like it could get pretty active here. All right, let's take a look at the energy that's steering this. All right, and you can see, because everyone has asked me, okay, why has this been such a wild summer season with these thunderstorms? This is the reason why. We talked about this. Remember some of the severe weather events that I was tag teaming with Rob earlier in the month, which he might be on tag teaming with me again later this evening too. So we keep mentioning the El Nino. This is it's a very rare summer in terms of severe weather here in the Mid-Atlantic, and it's all because of the El Nino. The El Nino is monstrous. It is unbelievably strong right now. Okay, so strong, in fact, that it's just about off the charts. It's almost now. Now, the modeling is projecting it already to be the strongest El Nino that we've ever seen in recorded history, okay? And we're already getting pretty close to that point now. All right, so what that does is it moves the jet stream. This jet right here, you see the colors to the north, top of your screen there? That's the pieces of energy riding the jet. That jet stream should be all the way up into Canada right now. All right, the seasonal average position of that jet should be north of the Great Lakes. It's August. Actually, I can make an argument it's still the beginning of August. There's no way that thing should be that far south. All of that upper level energy gets these storms going, okay? Look at it. You can clearly see it, all right? It's right over top of us every single day. I mean, look at this. The dark greens, the oranges, all right, that reddish color. It's right. Now, look what's going on to the south, all right? Look at the bottom of your screen. You know why places like Atlanta and Nashville and Little Rock and, New Orleans and those areas and St. Louis, yes, they see thunderstorms, but they're not seeing widespread severe weather seemingly 2 or 3 times a week. You know why? There's no upper level energy. It's all up here. Look, it just keeps going. Look, do you see these things round in the bend? Look at this one coming in over the top. There's another one. It just keeps coming. All right, here's another one. Look at this. It just keeps coming. All right, here comes another one behind that. It just keeps coming. Now we're at the 24th of August. It just keeps coming. All right, that is the jet stream. It should never be this far south. It shouldn't. And again, the reason for that is because the El Nino displaces it from its normal position, which is Canada. And as long as you have that thing... Now, look, it doesn't mean every time a little piece of that orange energy that you just saw blows through, we get severe weather. But what it does is it gives you a chance, okay? You don't have that, you don't really have much of a chance. If you don't have the upper level energy, you get what's called pulse thunderstorms, all right? Or in other words, the heating of the day will create a pop-up shower thunderstorm. Probably doesn't even get severe. Maybe it has winds of 40, 45 miles per hour. It soaks the area for 15, 20 minutes and then dissipates. That's what you get. But when you start seeing these pieces of energy like that, now you're getting winds 60 to 70 miles per hour. Now you're getting more organization to these thunderstorms, and now you're increasing the severe threat. Okay? It's all thanks to the El Nino. All thanks to the El Nino. All right, heat today. Yay, more 90s. Heat tomorrow. Yay, more 90s. Wednesday, down into the 80s. Thursday, Friday. Friday's the day. All right, Friday's going to be the day where the humidity finally drops. The temperatures give us a little bit of a break. Look at the 83 in Allentown, Quakertown. Look at the 82 in Quakertown, 83 in Macungie, 74 in the Poconos. Oh, I'll take that. 84, 85 in Washington Township. That's Friday. Saturday gets even lower. Oh, please let this be true. 80 in Quakertown. That's it. 80 for the high. 73 in the Poconos, 81 in Allentown, 83 in Philly, 83 in Washington Township, 83 in Atlantic City. Look at the beaches. You're probably in the 70s. Matter of fact, I can tell you you're going to be in the 70s for highs. All right? That's Saturday. Sunday, the beaches are still in the 70s for highs. Low 80s in the Lehigh Valley. Low to mid 80s, I-95 corridor, and the Poconos are in the 70s. So, there's light. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Still got a long ways to go, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Come on, fall's right. I'm reading some of the comments now. Okay, so that's it. Just to kind of summarize real quick. Watch the severe threat later today after 4 p.m. 4 to, I'd say, 9 is your window from west to east. Watch the severe threat again Tuesday. Watch the severe weather threat. I sound like that tram car. Watch the tram car. Watch the tram car. So watch the severe weather threat today. Watch the severe weather threat Tuesday. Watch the severe weather threat Wednesday. Now I want to go to Wildwood. And then things will settle down after that. Things will settle down by the middle and the end of the week. Temperatures will drop down. The humidity will drop down. And this upcoming weekend, keep the fingers crossed, looks incredible at the moment. Hopefully it plays out that way. We don't have too many of these summer weekends left, right? All right. Well, that's going to do it for me. All right, unless you guys want me to answer some questions here, but that's really it. I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to eat my cereal. And I'll probably have an orange. That's what I'm going to do. And then I might take Murphy for a nice W-A-L-K. He's sitting right here. I can't say the word, or he'll want me to take him now. All right, back to the full radar. Remember... Yup, he's looking. I can't even say W-A-L-K anymore. He knows what that is now. All right, we're going to go right now. Again, you can find this streaming 24/7 on my YouTube channel. You do not need a YouTube account to view this. Just go to youtube.com. In the search engine, put in @ChrisSauersWeather. You'll see this immediately. All right, this will pop. My page will pop right up. I'm wearing a red shirt. And then once you get to my page, there's going to be a toolbar right there at the top. Click live. This pops up. You'll be able to watch the storms develop in real time, the warnings update in real time. Everything that you need will be right in front of you in real time. And I pop in and out of there every now and then throughout the course of the day answering questions. Okay? All right. You guys take care. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I'll see you later this afternoon. I got a feeling I'm going to be doing some cut-in stuff here later on, especially for the western counties. If, for whatever reason, the weather doesn't get crazy, all right, you'll see me tonight at 7:30 with another dungeon. All right, you guys take care. Enjoy your day. Stay cool out here.